Studying legal studies at Ferny Grove involves a range of elements. To explain in more detail, we've asked 4 Year 12 students currently studying the subjects to share their thoughts with you. With us we have Alexis and Georgie. Ladies, tell us the topics you studied across the 2 years of legal studies.
First of all, I would just like to say that legal studies is a subject that is real and constantly up to date. In society, we are impacted by the law on a daily basis. So what topics will you study? There are 4 units across the 2-year course.
Unit 1 is called Beyond Reasonable Doubt. Within this unit, we'll start to look at the introduction to law and its foundations. Then we move to looking at sources of law, including the criminal investigation process. This is where we start to analyse current crimes and offences in our community and move into the punishment and sentencing options for courts. We then look at the criminal trial process and court procedures. This occurs prior to the excursion in the court in Term 3, Year 11.
Unit 2 is Balance of Probabilities. This is where we start to look at civil and criminal law and move on to negligence and duty of care principles.
Unit 3 is Law, Governance and Change. This unit is the beginning of Year 12 work. This is where we start to analyse the history of the legal systems in Australia and our Constitution. We start to examine who really holds the power and how the power is influential in the legal system. We then move to looking at the powers of lobby groups and how they influence law reform.
Unit 4 is Human Rights in Legal Contexts. This is the final unit studied in Year 12. We start to examine what are human rights, as well as international bodies that uphold human rights around the world, such as the UN. We look at Australia's role in ensuring that human rights are upheld and various types of discrimination that occur, both in Australia and globally.
Overall, it is all very interesting and will really open your eyes to the impact that law has on everyone in society, every day at both a local and international level.
Thank you, Georgie and Alexis. With us also is Jed. Jed, could you explain to us why you think legal studies is an interesting subject to study here at Ferny Grove?
Lots of students were exposed to law in humanities in Year 10 and really enjoyed it. Going on the excursion to Boggo Road Jail and the Police Museum was interesting as well.
So to study legal studies, you need to have studied law in Year 10?
No, not at all. Anyone who did not study law in Year 10 will certainly not be disadvantaged.
Okay. So earlier you used the word interesting to describe legal studies. What did you mean by that?
Well, interesting and relevant to us, the students. It's all about people's daily lives, their behaviour, and how the law tries to settle disputes that people may find themselves in. This could include interaction with the police, to go into the court, how governments work, taking civil action after buying a dodgy car, to understand a mobile phone contract.
Anything else?
Yes, heaps. You go to the district and Supreme Courts in Year 11. We watch videos about relevant topics. You get to hear lots of case studies or stories about actual real-life incidents. This could be about murder or an assault, a work injury, discrimination at work, and elsewhere, a sports contract or injury, juvenile detention, a royal commission, into child abuse, or even how the UN works. There are lots of different topics that are studied.
Wow. Thanks, Jed. Another current student joins us also. Paige, what types of skills will you need to develop to cope in this subject?
The study of legal studies develops a range of skills as you work throughout the course. Skills such as researching, collaborating, and drafting become useful. You learn the ability to paraphrase and argue a point of view using evidence, important skills in an area of further study after high school. You'll become adept to referencing, editing, and proofreading your own work. Legal studies students become very good at working from and responding to stimulus. You'll be able to write in a number of genres. Finally, yet importantly, students develop a greater awareness for the world around them and learn to appreciate the role of the governments and courts in making laws we all must abide by every day.
And also, what sort of careers is legal studies useful for?
Well, legal studies is a sort of subject that will assist you across a range of careers. Most jobs require you to have an awareness of how the law relates it to, such as areas of contract, your entitlements, protection from unfair dismissal at a workplace, health and safety. Specific jobs that is directly related to include solicitors and barristers, paralegal position, police officers, customs and border protection, justice, department officials, and various public service jobs like child safety and immigration. It is certainly true today that there are very few jobs that don't require you to be aware of your legal rights and responsibilities.
Thank you, Paige. And thank you to everyone for sharing your thoughts with us. we'd like you to give some serious thought to choosing legal studies in your senior subjects of 11 and 12 at Ferny Grove. Feel free to contact any of the legal studies teacher here in X Block or I Block for more information. And as you've heard, it certainly is an interesting subject that does equip you with skills and knowledge for the real world.